Hey Greg, let's talk bourbon. All right, here we are getting ready for our second blind of 4. We're going to figure out what is the best single barrel that I own that is bourbon or Tennessee whiskey. The Single Barrel Showdown, if you will. So last week I did a blind, the first blind, where I did 7 bottles. We're going to have 4 groups of 7 bottles each for the 28 bottles. And the first group was the low proof bottles. And in that, the winner of that blind was the Old Elk Single Barrel. Really good stuff. A lot of vanilla and sweetness with that tobacco and a little bit of leather flavor. Very lovely. So it is an $85 bottle, but it is a lower proof bottle at only 108. And it's going to come in here and it's going to join this blind. This blind, if you recall from my introduction video, is going to be the $70 and under blind. So we have here ranging from $47 to $68 bottles, single barrel bottles that are all under $70, and they are all higher proof. So bringing this Old Elk into the mix, it's a more expensive bottle at 85, but it's a lower proof. It's only 108. Now, that being said, I have to admit I made a mistake. In my rush of figuring out what bottles are going to be in which blinds and everything else, I've got, for proof here, starting at Blue Note, I got 124, 120, 120, 127, 116, and 132 proof right here. I made a mistake on the old riff. New riff. I got olds up here. So the new riff, when I was going through, I was quickly going through and I saw here that, 120.57, I thought that was the proof. I just put it in this category. That's actually the bottle number. Oops. The proof is only 107.5, which makes it actually even slightly less proof than the Old Elk. All right, so I gotta apologize to New Riff for putting him in the wrong category, but can't look back now. We're moving on. So, just to give you a brief introduction, then, this is the $70 and under blind. So New Riff is 47, Blue Note is 50, Knob Creek is 56, the Old Soul is 60, the Jack Daniels is 60, the Penelope Toasted Single Barrel Pick Cast Strength is 65, and the Jack Daniels Single Barrel Cast Strength Store Pick, that is straight out of Tanyard Hill, is $68. And I think I already listed the proof levels. So we've got a little bit of range. We got mostly in the same price range, but we do have a little bit of range when it comes to proof. And we'll see how that plays out. Now, what am I interested in this blind? What do I think, things to watch? Well, obviously I've got 2 bottles here that are Jack Daniels. I've got the regular single barrel cast strength, and I've got the single barrel cast strength that is the store pick straight out of Tanyard Hill. Now, I did a video on these 2 just recently, maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and did a comparison. And one of the things that I found when comparing the 2 is that while they're very similar, there are some key differences between the 2, and that the regular Jack Daniels actually has stronger and more distinct notes, whereas the straight out of Tanyard Hill, I thought was a little bit more well-rounded. I thought it had a few extra notes to it, but at the same time, I didn't find that the notes were a little bit softer. It was smoother, but it was just kind of, the notes weren't as distinct, right? There were more of them, and it was smoother. So, anyways, one thing I mentioned in that video is that I thought that the Jack Daniels, the regular, would blind better because of the stronger and more distinct notes. And so we'll see how that plays out. We'll see if indeed the regular beats the store pick. Other things of note here. Well, the Old Elk obviously is the more expensive one here. It earned the right to be here by winning the previous blind. But it is lower proof. So on one hand, I really like this bottle, and I think it could win. It's got a flavor profile that I think could win. But it is lower proof, and it's going to need to be able to stand up to some higher proof bottles here. Now, I will say that in the previous blind, if you saw that video, this Old Elk had the strongest nose and the strongest palate in that blind. So therefore, I think that, yeah, potentially it could stand up to some of these stronger proof bottles. We will find out. If it can stand up to the higher proof bottles, then I think it can win. Another one that I think really has a shot at this, and I know it's only a $50 bottle, is this Blue Note. I have put this, well, I think I've only had it in one blind in the past. It did really well in that blind. I think it came in second. It was really, really good job for a $50 bottle, and I was just really impressed with it. I think this Blue Note has a shot. Call it a dark horse. Now, other possibilities here. I mean, the Jack Daniel's going to be a strong contender. This Penelope Toasted, cast strength, store pick, I'm telling you, in my blind for toasted barrels that I've got here, this one, and it won fairly easily. This is one to watch for. Can it win? I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to fall in the middle of the pack, but we'll see. Now, New Riff is a really lovely single barrel. That being said, of course, I made the mistake on the proof level. It's only 107.5. Probably doesn't belong in this blind against these stronger competitors, in terms of proof. That being said, the taste is really good. It's got a great flavor profile. So, again, similar to the Old Elk, if the New Riff can stand up to the higher proof levels, then it has a shot at winning. We'll see. Now, that leaves these two out that I haven't talked about. I like them both. I like all of these bottles. But, in the past, I have put the Old Soul and I have put the Knob Creek in blinds, and they finish kind of middle of the pack. So, considering the fact that they finished middle of the pack in the past, I don't think they're going to get through this blind. But we'll find out. So, who's going to finish last? I don't know. I mean, like I said, I really like all these bottles. I don't really see a problem with any of them. I think this blind, you could see surprise bottles at the bottom, because these are all really good bottles and somebody's got to be last. So we'll see how that goes. So as you noticed here, I have put these bottles in order of price from the $47 bottle up to the $85 bottle. I have numbered them 1 through 8, and those numbers correspond to numbers at the bottom of these glasses. And I've got them sitting over here, already all mixed up. Doesn't really matter what order I bring them out in. All right, make sure it looks good here. I am going to be referring to these glasses as A through, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, A through H. So, never done an 8-wide blind before. So, hopefully, I can get through it. Because I've got 2 more after this that are going to be 8-wide. So, here we go. Let's dig in, shall we? Glass A. Well, it smells like a really nice bourbon, and the first thing I thought when I smelled it was there's a lot of oakiness to it, and maybe a toastedness to this. I'm not sure about being toasted, but it does have a higher level of oak on the nose. Otherwise, there's a little cinnamon there. There's the baking spices. The high notes, I'm not getting a lot. There's like a little bit of caramel, and I don't really get much fruitiness at all. So what really hits me in this glass is the oakiness. All right, that was good. That was A. All right, glass B. This one's kind of tasty. Yeah, that tasty nose. Sweet. Almost get like a sense of some rye notes in there, like some cloves and even maybe a little honeysuckle. Also getting lots of vanilla. Maybe a touch of breadiness. You hear my throat there a little bit. So last week's video, I barely got through it from a voice standpoint. I had this sinus problem that I'd had. Okay, it's really wrapping up now. It's almost gone. But you might still hear it in my voice every once in a while. Anyways, that's what I get for this one. Maybe a little bit of baking spice. But a lot of sweet notes, a lot of vanilla with a little bit of spice, a little bit of breadiness. All right, glass C. Wow. This one's fruity. Like I get grapes and pear. A little bit of cinnamon, maybe some nutmeg. Maybe a little bit of vanilla, but very fruity. That's what I'm coming up with there. All right, glass D. All right, a little confused by that. This is very different. It's lighter. It's darker. Oh, that didn't make much sense to you, did it? It's lighter in the sense that it's light on the nose. It's not that strong of a nose. It's darker in terms of the notes. I get more of like, there's some fruitiness to it, like some melon. And there's some caramel. Is that headed to molasses? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. There's also some breadiness in it. So it's not the darkest notes I've ever had, but it's still, compared to some of the previous glasses, it's on a little bit headed darker in there. All right. Glass E. A little bit lighter notes. It's pretty pleasant. Again, I get kind of, it's not as fruity as the other one I was talking about being fruity, but it is still, I do get the pears, I get the grapes, the green grapes. I get some vanilla. I get a little bit of the 5 spice, very lightly. And maybe that nose was a little bit light, a little bit lesser of a nose on that one. All right, glass F. This one is it's fruity. Somewhere between berries and melon. A little bit of caramel, a little bit of vanilla. Kind of gives a creaminess to it. And even a little bit of banana. I even almost get a little banana custard to it. Huh. Boy, having to do the noses on all of these glasses. Whew. I'm starting to get lightheaded. Glass G. I still got 2 more to go. All right, this one got a little bit of oakiness, got a little bit of that oak spice. You know, it's kind of a straight up bourbon. It's got the caramel, touch of breadiness. Not a lot of fruit. There's a little there. Can't put my finger on it, but there's not a lot of fruit in that one. All right, glass H. Never said that before. This one's sweet. It's got a lot of vanilla, maybe a touch of confectionery sugar. There's a little bit of spice there, but and maybe a little bit of fruit. And maybe that fruit's more of a stone fruit, more of like a peach or somewhere in there. You know what's interesting to me? So I'm playing back. I had a lot of the same notes as I went through, didn't I? And if you saw my last video, you know that the Old Elk has a strong tobacco-ness to it. And I didn't pick up necessarily tobacco anywhere in here on the nose. I also, while there was a little bit of variety of the strength of the nose, everything was pretty close to having the same level of nose. So I find that interesting that there's no bottles here that has just disappeared on a, you know, in terms of their level of nose, and I didn't find the tobacco. I'm assuming I will find it once I start going on the palate here, but I also wonder if it's just something that happens when you are trying to do with the nose of 8 glasses in a row. It's a lot of glasses. So anyway, here we go. On the palate, glass A. I think this is the one I said struck me as oaky. And yeah, there is straight up an oak flavor in the back of the palate. I'm not talking about the baking spice, which is a spice, that level of spice flavor that comes from the interaction with the oak. This, it tastes like wood. Not a lot, and it's not too heavy. It's not bad. It's just that it's there. It's also sweet and tangy. It's got a definite fruitiness. I don't think I picked up a lot of fruit on the nose. There is fruitiness on the palate. Kind of like a stone fruit. Something in that range. And the sweetness is more of a vanilla. That tartness that I was talking about, I think, comes from the fruit. But there's something else there. And I think it has to do with why I say it's oaky. There's something else about it. Maybe I'll figure it out as I go along. But there's more to that glass. All right, glass B. Smells wonderful. Wow. Much stronger on the palate than the first glass. This is, wow, powerful. It also comes across as a little proofy, whereas that first glass did not. I mean, it's fruity, it's sweet, it's got the vanillas and caramels. The fruit is I don't know. I taste the pear. Maybe I taste a little something else as well. There's definitely a little bit of baking spice at the end. It's just interesting to me that it was noticeably stronger and it was proofy. So here we go. Glass C. This is the one that had the This is the one I thought had the apples and pear, or the grapes and pears, I think. And I do get some grapes and some pears. It also gives me a bit of a hug. It's quite tasty. It's got some vanilla. It's got some cinnamon, along with that baking spice. But I do have to say the baking spice turns a touch bitter at the very end. All right, glass D. Nice nose. This one's different. It's I mean, as far as the mouthfeel, it's the thickest, most syrupy mouthfeel of all of them I've tried so far. It's got quite a bit of spice at the back. But it is fruity and a little sweet. I can already tell this is going to be really hard because so far none of these have separated themselves. So I don't know if this is the one that I said melon earlier, but I could definitely go with a melon on as far as the fruitiness that's in this glass. Yeah, I'm not really going to be able to necessarily remember everything I said about these with so many glasses. All right, I just hope to remember where I am. Glass E. A little bit lighter nose. That's tasty though. Sweet, fruity. It's almost like a syrup in terms of the high note. And the fruit, peach maybe. Maybe even ranging down to plum. Quite a bit of spice. All right, I'm gonna wait on that. Glass F. Different flavor. Kind of oaky. I don't know if this is the one that I said was darker. Well, it kind of is. I'm still looking for the tobacco. And could there be tobacco in this glass? Perhaps. But I don't think so. I think there's some berries for some fruit. There's some caramel. But it's there's a lot of oak and a lot of spice. And maybe something else there that I haven't put my finger on. All right, glass G. This one's also proofy. Yeah. Wow. This tastes very similar to a previous one. The other proofy one, I think. A lot of spice, darker fruits. Maybe somewhere around a peach to, I wouldn't call it berries. And then there's, again, a fair amount of oakiness. So I wonder if I'm being influenced from one to the other here. Too much, you know? Glass H. This one's lighter and sweeter. Vanilla's fruity, maybe pears to peach. Some spice at the end. Wow. I'm baffled. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Usually when I go through one time, I have picked out 2 or 3 that just don't hold up to the others. I did not have that here. And in fact, if anything, I mean, there were 2 of them that were proofy. Could those 2 be the 2 Jack Daniels, which are the highest proof ones here, and are known for kind of being proofy? Possibly, possibly. I also found myself going down the oak train here and seeing that lots of stuff was oaky. And I find that really interesting because while some of these I would expect that from, not all of them. You know, in the Knob Creek, I usually find some chocolate. I don't know if I found chocolate in these, although there were some that were darker. That could be the Knob Creek. There were a couple of them that I mean a couple of them, there were 2 of them, that I was like, is that tobacco I taste? I'm not sure. Is it? I wasn't willing, I wasn't committed to say, come out there and say, yeah, I think this is the one that got the tobacco in it, because there's only one bottle here with a tobacco note, and that's the Old Elk. But it's not jumping out at me. Now, granted, like I said, I think there were two glasses as I was doing this that I was thinking, and I don't remember which ones they were anymore, that I was thinking, I don't know, is that tobacco? I don't know. I'm just going to go call balls and strikes here, right? Go by what I like, what my palate is saying, and whatever happens, happens, right? All right. But what's interesting to me is that usually I'm like, oh, these two are not as good, right? And I go after them. I don't know. There's a little something else to this E, which is one of the ones that I wonder if it isn't tobacco. I like that C. And C also kind of gives me I don't know, is that tobacco? Could be. There's a possibility that that C is the Old Elk. All right, the ones that I have not enjoyed as much. I have not enjoyed the A as much. The H is pretty good. I like that H. That B is still the proofiest one up here. And then the D has got a little bit of, just a touch of some bitterness to it. So, I'm kind of bouncing around here. The ones that stood out to me is A, B, and D as perhaps the ones I'm just not as enjoying as much, right? There is some honey developing in this one, though. But there's some kind of, I'm not enjoying the back of the palate so much in this glass D. Yeah. And that B is just plain proofy. Ah. Otherwise, it's got some halfway decent flavors to it. But for glasses that have been sitting out now for almost an hour. These glasses were poured an hour ago. For it to still be proofy. Wow. I think this glass F, I think might have been the other one that was a little on the proofy side. But it's not as proofy as the B. Yeah, that one's tasty. That C is good. Boy. That might end up being first out. I got an inching out right here. Got a drinking problem. All right. The A really isn't that bad. It's just a little underwhelming in comparison. And this B, I don't know if it's one of the Jack Daniels or not. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go D out in 8th place. And I'm going to go B out in 7th place. I'm just not... I can't get past... So D is going out in last place because it's got... I'm not enjoying the back of the palate. It's a little on the bitter side. There's a little something else there. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Can't put my finger on it, but it's going out in last. The B is going out in 7th place because I can't get past the proofiness. I just can't get past it. These glasses have been poured for an hour. I do put a touch, and I mean just a touch of water in each one. More to just kind of help separate oils and so forth. Very little. Certainly well less than an ice cube. An eyedropper, I guess, is probably about what you would say I put in. Yeah, that one is just, I just can't get past the proofiness on it. I have a hard time enjoying the flavors because it does have some good flavors under that. I just can't get past it. All right. So 2 casualties. Let's move on. The A, it's also been a little bit underwhelming, but it is nice and sweet. So let's keep it in for now. That G is indeed proofy. I don't know about that E. That E isn't that great either, in comparison. I kind of start getting picky, right? In the beginning, I said I like them all, and I did. But then as you get into it, you bounce back and forth, you start finding little flaws. It's pretty good. It's a little spicy, which I think is what I'm reacting to in this glass E. It's a little on the spicy side, but it's the front of the palate is quite lovely. Run out of water. That's okay. It's a little underwhelming too. Now this G, it's a little proofier. It's the proofiest one left up here. But the flavors are pretty nice. All right. I keep coming back to this E. A little underwhelming, a little bitter. I'm going to put E out in 6th place. All right. So we got D in 8th, B in 7th, E in 6th. Got to figure this out. At least it's getting manageable now. I'm starting to really like A. I like C. Yeah, I don't know about that one. All right, I'm going to go, what is this? G, out in 5th place. It's the other one that's a little proofy. And it's just not sweet enough. And I don't know. It's just rather dark in its flavors. So it's going to go out in 5th place. All right, down to 4. A little more cheese. You know, I really find that a good hard cheese does wonders for resetting the palate. Definitely don't want to use anything that's salty. All right? Salt screws your palate up. But cheese really helps to reset things, get back into this. Especially if, say, those baking spice notes kind of start to really build up and cloud, make everything kind of taste the same. The cheese really helps to just kind of reset that. All right. Well, I've said I like the A, I like the C. I'm also kind of digging the H. And F is tasty. It's almost starting to give me a little bit of butterscotch now as I get farther into this. I don't know what it is. And, you know, certainly that butterscotch would not be the only note, but I could find it in this glass. Yeah. Or marshmallow. Yeah, I think the tobacco is here in Class C. But it's so sweet as well. It's probably the sweetest of the glasses. And this glass, whatever it is, it's just really nice, well balanced, just kind of a straight down the middle bourbon. I know initially I don't think I said it was oaky. I don't know if that's just how it was coming out of the chute, you know. I know initially I didn't think it had a lot of fruit. I don't think it has a lot of fruit. There's a little bit of fruit there. It's more sweet though. It's definitely on the sweeter end of things. But there is some fruit there. And there is some oakiness there. There is. I don't think it's that strong. I think perhaps when I got started here, I just found it to be really strong. I think I found it to be kind of strong in a lot of glasses. Maybe it was just, I didn't want to do much of a warm-up because I got 8 glasses here, right? So I didn't want to sit here and, sometimes when I do a blind, I'll have a glass or two ahead of time. And here, I only had a few sips ahead of time because I didn't want to, I got a lot to drink. So, and maybe that led to me coming out of the chute thinking that this is oaky, this is oaky, this is oaky, this is oaky. Maybe. Now that I'm into this more, this has become sweeter. And it's pretty good, whatever it is. This is good. This one's pretty good. Although there's a touch more on the oakiness on this one. A little bit of bitterness. Yeah, it doesn't appear there. And that H is tasty. Whatever that is. Again, it's kind of light, sweet, which is what I tend to gravitate towards when it comes to these blinds. I tend to like, in a blind, I tend to pick out the light, sweet ones. It's what I've noticed that tendency. All right, I'm going to go, I think this is F. I'm putting that out in 4th place. For no other reason than, and I'm getting a little bit of that butterscotch again. There is, whatever that is, there's a touch of butterscotch to it. Despite that, I really like the butterscotch note when I do find it, which I don't find it very often. I do find it in this glass. That being said, there's also a touch of bitterness at the end of the palate that is not there in these other 3. And just in general, the notes in this glass are just starting to fade. I think if I keep doing this, this one's just going to keep fading away. So F has got to go out in 4th place. Leaving me with what probably is the sweetest 3 glasses. It's pretty good. That's good. God damn it, that's good too. All right. Granted, I did pick up a touch of bitterness in this one, but that could be because it was last. So let me take a piece of cheese. Where did butter come from? And I'm going to go the other direction. See, now I went the other direction, and this is the one that kind of left me with a little bit of flavor to it. All right, just has to do with what direction I go, I guess. I am going to say this. My next glass out is either A or H. So I'm just going to try the two. I'm going to have to, this is really tough. This is really a tough decision. On one hand, glass H is stronger on the nose and stronger on the palate. Glass A is a little sweeter. I like them both. These are really good glasses. I don't know what these bottles are, but they're both really good. I really enjoyed both of them. And I think my glass C here is the winner. I really like this. I'm going to go H in third, A in second, and C is the winner. All right, there we go. That took a lot. I am sorry that it took so long. I am sure that these 8 glass blinds are a lot to watch. Let me tell you, it's a lot to drink. But let's see what we did here, shall we? And see if there's some really crazy things going on. Because, like I said, I like all of these bottles. I enjoy all of them. I drink all of them periodically. And they're good, right? And like I said, you know, it's going to be some surprise bottles in the bottom because somebody's got to lose. Somebody's got to lose. So, I believe it was D that was here in last place, 8th place. And that was number 3, Knob Creek. Now, I did say, let's put it right there for now. I did say that Knob Creek was one of the ones that, you know, in past blinds has always finished kind of middle of the pack. And so I didn't have high hopes for it. All right, there it is, last place. In 7th place, because it was proofy and I couldn't get past the proofiness. Otherwise, I mean, there were some flavors behind it that were, I thought, oh, it's still proofy. Damn. So the nose is pretty nice. I like the nose. It's nice and strong. It's got a bunch of notes. It's nice. But when you take a taste on the palate, I mean, yeah, I mean, this is just coming across as a flamethrower. Damn. All right, this was glass B, and it is number 7. Tanyard Hill. Tanyard Hill. Damn. All right. So I had a feeling. Sorry, I don't have a lot of room here. So I had a feeling that the Tanyard Hill was not going to do as well as the regular Jack Daniels. And I also thought that the two proofy glasses were the Jack Daniels glasses because they had the highest proof levels. And well, there we go. So the Tanyard Hill, I don't know, didn't do it. I ran when Ira's, advertised this, I don't know, a month or two ago. I felt the need to run out there and go buy a bottle of this, right? I even though I already had a bottle of the regular, I felt the need to go out and buy a bottle of the Tanyard Hill. It's a store pick. It's Tanyard Hill, right? It's supposed to be better. It was an extra $8. And yeah, it doesn't do as well in a blind. It just does not. And when I took this to, what was it, Easter? My son and my brother both said that the regular was better than this as well. So they both agreed. I don't know. Maybe I just got a bad barrel. That's how it goes. All right. In 6th place. I think this was E. Number 4. Well, the other one that I said was, in past blinds, didn't, kind of finish middle of the pack. Old Soul. Now, I really like Old Soul. I think that, these guys do a great job down there. It's Cathead Distillery down in Mississippi. And in general, I really like Old Soul. I do. But when it comes to the blinds, they're not quite keeping up. It's just the way it is. All right. In what is it? 5th place. I think this was the other proofy bottle. This was letter, I don't know, I lost track. I want to say it was maybe G. I don't know. Number 5. Yep. Indeed, it was the other proofy bottle. It was indeed the other Jack Daniels. Just interesting how I could pick them out of the lineup. Oh, yeah, this is proofy. It must be Jack Daniels. I like buying full-proof stuff, cast strength stuff. I do. I always figure that, that way I can decide, I can have my own water, and I can decide what level of water I want to put in there. But these Jack Daniels bottles are so high in proof. I mean, this one here is what, 132? I mean, it's a flamethrower. What do you do with that, right? And there was a little bit of water in it. And it's still a flamethrower. Anyway, how can you really get to the, to the notes when it's that proofy? Here we go. In 4th place. Number 1. Old Riff. Sorry, I did it again. That's twice in this video I did that. Twice. I know I've got a couple of olds in here in this video. I got Old Elk. I got Old Soul. New Riff. Not old. Number 1. So, it's interesting that a bottle that I screwed up on, that is a 107.5 proof, beat 127 proof, beat 132 proof, beat 120 proof, and beat another 100. No. Yeah, that's right. 120 proof, 120 proof. All right. Yeah. I remember this. So it wasn't necessarily all that bitter. It just, I don't know. It's just not as good, I guess not as sweet as the others. What would really be interesting is that I did say that A was oaky right off the bat. It would be interesting if that turns out to be the Penelope, which is a toasted barrel. But I put that in second. In third place was actually Glass H. And that third place is the Blue Note. Well, I thought Blue Note would finish well. I was hoping it might finish in the top 2, but it finished in the top 3. Pretty darn good for a $50 bottle. That is a really strong $50 bottle, right? I mean, if you don't have Blue Note's single barrel cask strength, right? Or uncut, as it likes to say. This one happens to be a store pick from Jack's down there in Atlanta. I picked that up on my deer hunting trip down to Georgia. Anyways, you got to pick one up. Blue Note is really good. And in particular, the cask strength version, or the uncut version, single barrel of Blue Note. It's really good. In fact, my brother had a small batch, not uncut version of it. And we put the two side by side. And I mean, this one was so much better. You really need the single barrel uncut. $50, gotta get it. It's really good. It's when you're talking value, this is value right here. If you're into value bourbon, this is it. All right. So in second place, the one that I said was oaky right off the bat, I think it's got to be Penelope. Am I right? Number 6, Penelope. I gotta taste it. Glass is almost gone. Took me a while to figure it out. So, the regular Penelope toasted is, it is what it is, right? I'm gonna move these back so the camera can see them better. So the regular Penelope toasted, people are if you watch people's reviews, it's kind of so-so, right? That's what the reviews show. But this one is a single barrel that is cask strength and a store pick. And I got it from a store here in the Milwaukee area called Autos. I don't know if they still have any more or not. It was out there around October. And it's just, for a toasted product, it's my best toasted product. It's really good. And as you can see, it beat Blue Note, which is really good. It beat New Riff, which is really good. And, it beat these here that are really solid. So, if you can find yourself one of these single barrel cask strength, store picks, you got to do it. And that means that we came down to just a really lovely glass here, Glass C. It's really sweet. It's got depth. It's strong. I mean, there's confectionery sugar. There's tons of vanilla. I mean, it's just like candy. It's like candy. And yet, There's that tobacco. And a little bit of leather. Kind of an homage to Elijah Craig, you know. Elijah Craig's done the same path. But this is sweeter than Elijah Craig. So if you're looking, if you like Elijah Craig, but you're looking for a sweeter version of that, here you go. Old Elk, Single Barrel. Number 8 wins again. Not surprised. I called it. I said that I thought this would win. I thought this might finish second, finish third. I did say to keep an eye out for New Riff. I did say to keep an eye out for Penelope. They did well. I thought that the regular Jack Daniels would do better than the Tanyard Hill, and it did. So I guess what this shows is that I kind of know my bottles. I guess that's what it shows. But anyways, these are really good. So again, the Old Elk Single Barrel is going to move on now to the third round, and it's going to join the third round, which is the over $70, but not quite bangers. That's what the third round is. And it's going to join that round for an 8-wide blind probably next week. So I hope you had fun. I sure did. Peace out.